before I ask you my next question, I just also wanted to mention, we did mention a financial advisor, and I want everybody to know too, it's not only rich people or people with a lot of money that have financial advisors.
Oh, I got a story about that too.
Yeah. I mean, you can be making a very modest income and still you should have a financial advisor that helps you set up maybe a 401k for yourself, a Roth, whether, it's traditional or what's the other one? IRA. And just helps you maybe some small stocks, just starting in there a little bit. Just get your money in the system so you're earning some compound interest, and it doesn't take a lot of money. You don't need a lot of money to start that. You can start with very little money.
That is a huge misconception, that you have to show up with 2 bags with dollar signs on them like in the cartoons. Yes. That is not the case.
No, that is not the case.
The way I got my financial advisor, she was a client of mine, and I got divorced. And I divorced my retirement plan because he worked for the police department. I was like, oh, we're good. We got a pension. We got whatever. I don't have to worry about it. Then we got divorced. And I was like, oh my God.
And then you have no pension plan.
I got nothing. Like I haven't saved anything. And I got student loans and I've got this whole thing. So I called her one day and I said, I have 2 nickels. Can you help me make them 4?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. And I got my financial advisor, I think maybe 12 or 13, 14 years ago. And it was at Fidelity and she was free. Yeah. And I think I started with $1,000, Gina. I put $1,000 into a little Fidelity account and I met with her and it was all free. And then you just, you add to it, you add what you can to it monthly and it's grown from there.
Yeah. And the key thing with that, and not that I'm trying to pretend like I'm a financial advisor because I'm not, but the compounding interest, like the earlier you start, it's like just start. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be this, huge life-changing thing, but just start because the compounding interest over time, the earlier you start, time works in your favor.
Yeah, no, that's true. I see in my industry, the potential to make a lot of money is there for, some artists, or a handsome income anyway. And so it's one thing to make it and generate it, but it's another to
keep it
and
there's
make
a
it
difference.
grow.
I just had this
you.
Conversation with a financial advisor earlier this week. He said there's a difference between income and wealth.
Yes.
Because he's got a physician client who makes $1 million a year and his net worth is $400,000. Because it's like a sieve. The money comes in and the money goes out. And he's not 100% sure what he spends it on, but it's building the wealth and it's building the retirement, because I don't want to be, most lawyers, we got to die at our desks. That is not my plan here.
Right.
And there's some lawyers, even here in town who are in their 90s that are still showing up to the office. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I know. And I might be in a worse position than you because you get to a certain age and I'm going to be tattooing an eyebrow and my hand's going to be shaking and shit, I think you can only get so strong of a magnification on those loops I wear. So yeah, your time's limited in your career, and then who the hell wants to work the rest of their life, even if you love what you do?
Sure.
I mean, you do want some time to go.
It's having the autonomy and the freedom to decide.
Yeah.
That's the key. So you don't want to continue tattooing because you have to continue tattooing because you got to pay your bills.
Right.
You want to continue tattooing because you want to.
Because
your bills are paid.
Yeah.
And you can travel and you can retire comfortably or whatever, but you still want to be involved.
Exactly. I see so many people and it's you just see the expensive purses and shoes and look, I have a wife who loves all that stuff, but we have a really strict budget. And she shops on Poshmark and all these used places. So she never buys retail. But when I see some of these things online, I'm like, oh my God. I feel like, oh my God, you could have saved 5 dogs, with
oh, I know.
that purse, or you could feed you could make sure a whole city of children never went without lunch, with a, I don't know, that's what goes on.
I put everything in terms of how many student loan payments.
Yeah. And as PMU.
So I have a friend who's she's all name brand. She does buy retail. So she'll have a $5,000 handbag. And I'm like, okay, that's how many student loan payments that I could make just with that one handbag.
Right. And we're kind of man, we do it in terms of eyebrows. Oh, that's 10 eyebrows. Oh my God, I'd have to tattoo Right?
Funny.
That's only 5 eyebrows. I mean, what the hell?
But then you also have to remember, if it's only 5 eyebrows, it's like you don't get to the $750 or whatever that you charge is not going $750 in your pocket.
Yeah,
because we have Uncle Sam and we've got expenses and we've got stuff like that.
And that was a big, huge thing for me. Like, you know, when we first launched our store, you would see like how much sales it generated like your first year, and you think you're like, me and Kat are like, oh my God, I'm calling my dad. And we're like so excited. But then we sit down with our attorney, our accountant.
Like, net income.
And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like oh my God. I was like, it was a shock. It was like, I was godsmacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Well, and that's as your audience is hiring a CPA, is to ask that question and say, of what I'm charging, how much am I actually putting in my pocket? Because I had a client who asked her CPA that question, and she was like, it was like max 20%.
Yeah.
So she had to work that, many multiples of times more to actually make so that really helps reset recalibrate your mindset on that kind of thing.
Oh, big time, Gina. And I don't think people look at their money that way, their revenue that way. They don't dissect it and analyze it that way.
We're taught to play the recorder and not what a mortgage is.
Yeah.
There's luckily now, kids growing up these days are starting to get more financial literacy education because they're acknowledging like nobody plays the recorder professionally. So can we just can that part of the
maybe no more home ec and baking pies, right? I mean,
although depending on
but that's not a bad thing to learn how to make pies. It's
right.
not a bad thing. But okay, what about like calculus and algebra?
Right.
I mean, maybe instead of that, I mean, who's going to use that in their real life? Me and Kat were just talking about that the other day. I mean, certainly not me, and probably 90% of the people are going to be out there using calculus.
Right.
Why not teach them how to balance a checkbook and savings and net profit versus gross profit and the credit card responsibility and interest and things like that? I think those things are way more important and should be focused on in schools rather than.
Agreed. And now we have to, as grown-ups, figure all that stuff out.
You got to figure out on your own.
Because it's not like, there are places that you can go for that kind of stuff, but people don't offer, because you are running a business, you don't have time.
Yeah. And let's face it, you're 20.
We come back to running a business, you don't have time.
Yeah, that's exactly right.